Hi, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing. Today, here on Conscious Business Zone with Katherine Parker. Hi, Katherine.
Hey, Kathy. Good to see you.
I'm so glad to see you. It's been too long.
It
So,
has.
we were just discussing, we met 3 years ago at Co-Creators Convergence up at Sunrise Ranch. But I had already heard of Katherine because she was famous in my little world, because of her work that she had done at Hummingbird Ranch, for their healing center. So, Katherine, I want to introduce her a little bit. I'm going to read something from her website. She's an internationally acclaimed spiritual healer, author, and visionary founder of Resonance Alchemy, a new system of transformational energy medicine. So, Katherine, I know that you've been doing Resonance Alchemy for over 20 years, because it was over 20 years ago that the beings came, right? So can you tell us, don't let me yap, please, please. Katherine, tell us about how you stumbled upon Resonance Alchemy.
Okay. So I really didn't stumble upon Resonance Alchemy.
Okay.
It stumbled upon me
Okay.
in a big way. It definitely came into my life with a big experience that I had in 1994, actually. So it has been quite a while, amazingly. But it happened, I had done spiritual work for many years, before that, a lot of meditation and and I did healing also. I was a massage therapist at that time and kind of general holistic healer. But I was just woken up one morning at 4:30 in the morning and was trying to get back to sleep, actually. And just out of the blue, I had a spontaneous out-of-body experience.
Yep.
So I had never had an out-of-body experience before. I wasn't trying to do that at all, but it just happened. And I found myself in my astral body going up to in outer space. And I was heading towards the Pleiades star cluster. And then as I was kind of aware of the Pleiades up there, it's like these beams of light came down and surrounded me. And I recognized that there were these, beautiful light beings that had surrounded me that came from the Pleiades. And they downloaded these light crystals into my being. And I knew that the crystals contained information, and I was getting kind of a general telepathic communication from these beings that they, had just given me this information, but I had no idea what it was at the time. So it was obviously, though, kind of a big deal. But at the moment, I really had no idea what it was all about. So then I went back down into my body and just kind of went, whoa, what just happened? So then later on in meditation and sort of over time, I was visited again by these beings. There was 3 blue light beings that came to me and started initiating me into this knowledge that I had been given. And then over time, it, began to develop and unfold. So it wasn't like I got it just in one big thing over, just momentarily, but it really unfolded over time in my meditation. And the basis of it was the Resonance Alchemy work is based on this sacred language, this universal sacred language. So it's a vibrational language, but it's not like the typical light language that, we hear so much these days, which is awesome, but this is actually very specific syllables, words really, that have a particular vibrational frequency. So they're vibrational codes. and they can be used by anyone, and they have very specific meanings in a sense, but the meanings actually, the syllables actually evoke the energy of what it is that they mean. So they're from the universal, unified field, and they carry that energy.
They're amazing, you guys. I was lucky enough. First of all, I want to show Katherine's book, which has quite a bit of this story in it. I hope you can read. It's Resonance Alchemy. It's on her website, and I'll put her website up here so you can see. The first time Katherine worked on me, I couldn't drive home.
I remember that.
So then, of course, I wanted to take the classes, which I did. And it's amazing. I mean, really something so simple, but so powerful and so easy to do. You can use these syllables. You don't have to say them out loud. You can say them to yourself and cause frequency shifts just within your field. So if you're at a grocery store and there's a conflict, you could actually change that field right then and there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the syllables really are these amazing vibrational codes. And, as I said before, they can be used by anyone. They are really meant to be used silently. And that kind of, gives people pause a bit because, we all know that sound carries vibration, outer sound, of course. And people don't, we also realize that thoughts carry vibration, right? But this is just taking that idea of what we know, that thoughts really do carry vibration. And if we think about our normal thoughts, my guides kind of gave me this analogy that our normal thoughts are like a light bulb, just an incandescent light bulb. They can kind of shine light on something, but they don't really change it in essence. And the syllables are actually like beams of laser light. So the frequencies are much more coherent, much more powerful, and they actually do change the energy very directly. So wherever we're directing that energy through our thoughts, then that field will actually, change and transform.
Katherine's been teaching this as well, and she's got a class on her website. I'm going to show her website again. So she's an excellent instructor. So some people that I've worked with in these years, I've been doing this a long time too, aren't very grounded. They, each day when you meet with them, you might meet with a different aspect of them, where in contrast, Katherine's really grounded. I don't know if it's because of your massage therapy background or your Buddhist background, but you are very grounded in reality, in truth, and in love. And you can, as a teacher, it's so wonderful. Okay. So people are asking me a question, but Elsie's here. Elsie Ritzenheim's here.
Hi, Elsie. Awesome.
And Sarah Arrow's here, and Kirinder Singh is here, and she's asking about my business. So I will take that offline. I'd rather have you ask questions about Katherine. I think Jade Rader's here too. So you guys, if you have questions, the thing that I like about Resonance Alchemy, Katherine, and maybe you can explain it, is how you can do just even the very smallest part of it and see results.
Yeah.
You can do even, 5 different frequency, because do you want to say one so they can hear what it sounds like?
Sure, absolutely. So one of my favorite ones that's just so universal is Krile Ama. And so that's KRILEIAMMA. And Krile Ama carries and evokes the energy of unconditional love. So it's the Christed frequencies of the 6th dimension of that energy of the union of spirit and matter, and just the energy of unconditional love. So, that's kind of, if you don't learn, any other set of syllables, that one is super powerful.
When I do the comments, I'll put that in so people can use it, because that is one of the fundamental ones. So Karen Der Singh said that was for Katherine. So I will ask her question. She said, "Nice to meet you. First question is, how did you start your business and where can we find you?" I've already done the website. "And what advice can you give to people that are new?"
Yeah, well, it's so let me just say a little bit about resonance, really, because it's all based on resonance. And we hear about the law of attraction, but really the law of attraction is about resonance. It's really how the law of attraction works is through resonance.
Right.
And so it's all about our frequency and vibration. So, we just have to really begin to see things as, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, everything that, we do and surround ourselves with has a frequency, has a vibration, and therefore has a resonance. And so, like resonance will attract like resonance. So that's basically what it is. So if you want to change something in your life, you have to change the resonance that you are putting out there, and a higher resonance will bring in those higher, more coherent energies. So it's really a very simple concept, and yet it's just we're not used to thinking that way.
Well, I think we are used to thinking that way, but we're caught in the global consciousness. And so this is intentional repatterning almost, where when you see you're triggered, which is a gift.
Yeah.
But it's a gift. When you see that, then this is a tool chest for you to use that gives you a way out, so you can be a conscious co-creator with your environment rather than a victim of it.
Exactly.
And Zach's here and he put creme brulee, but I have no idea why he put that. So Zach will be glad to answer questions if we understand them. So Katherine, I want to ask a question until other people do, about the new energies. I mean, you are downloaded probably a whole Encyclopedia Britannica in those crystals, and probably things are just starting to unfold as your consciousness gets higher and as the receptivity is there. Are you finding a lot of changes in what you're doing with Resonance Alchemy?
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's interesting is, so it is, evolved into a whole healing system, which I do teach, as you said, although, even the smallest part of it, just using, one set of syllables can really make a huge difference. But the system itself has been evolving and changing as the new energies come in. So it's not what it was, 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, all the time it's changing, it's upgrading, so that there's constant upgrades coming in with this system. So it is a real living system. And as the energies are starting to change on the planet, we're accessing things that we weren't able to access before, So when I was originally given the map, so to speak, of the energy field, I was using 9 dimensions of the energy field. And that was kind of, where our consciousness could reach at that time. And now we're actually using 12 dimensions of the energy field plus, So, I mean, that right there just tells you a huge amount about what has really opened up and shifted.
So Katherine, I got in a meditation, I got the DNA strands activation also connects to these dimensional fields. And what I saw, and it was working with a client, it was 3, 6, and 18 DNA strands that would work. And I didn't equate them to dimensions, but I equated it to being a superhuman, bringing in more of our co-creation with the universe capabilities. Do you see that happening too with these upgrades?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, DNA is very key. That's one of the things that I do, work with directly with people is various DNA activations. And we are, the evolutionary potential of our DNA is really being activated. Absolutely. So one of the sets of syllables that I've been using is Tara Ray Alman. And this carries the frequencies of that, activating that evolutionary potential of our DNA, because our DNA is designed to hold, so much more capacity than what we have. And it's just a matter of really activating those codes that are really there within us.
Great. Okay, so I want Elsie did put a question in. So she put, Katherine, in the dense or asleep world, what language might we use to influence and begin to shift to creativity?
To creativity. Well,
That's her.
yeah, that's a good one. So, any of the syllables will really do that, honestly, but the syllable just simply lay ama is the creative life force energy.
Okay.
Energy of creativity of the life force. And it is kind of associated more with that second chakra energy. And but it carries that, just full potential of the creative energy that is within us. And so just using those syllables simply, lay ama, can really start to evoke that greater creative energy, and
so most of the you have a lot of the syllables in this book, and then of course in your courses you have a lot of it. So they keep upgrading too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the all the syllables that are in the book are great, but there's a lot more than that. And yeah, I do want to say I'm actually, for anybody that is in this area, I'm actually going to be doing a class up in Crestone this September 19th, 20th, I'm sorry, 20th, 21st, and 22nd of September.
Wonderful.
And it's kind of a, foundation course. So, and I'm going to be teaching really pretty much a lot of new material anyway, not all new material, but a lot of new material, a lot of new syllables. And it's really getting easier and easier, so I've been asking for years, okay, we want things that just can really simply and easily just transform these very deep layers of stuff that we're carrying around,
Well, it's time to, right? It's time to shed. Again, when Elsie asked about creativity and we're talking about DNA, this is why we came. This is to ascend to this higher realms embodied. Yes. And this is part of the path. So Jade Reader asked if your book's on Audible.
I don't know, actually.
You would know. It probably isn't. It's Audible.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Sorry, Jade, it is not a spoken book.
Yeah.
And then here goes with what Zach said. Zach is a physicist, so maybe, and a musician. Maybe of interest. Well, he said he likes her purple glasses first. may be of interest. I studied group theory in grad school physics. If you look at DNA as a group, it reveals the higher connectivity available. Not that we need science to know, yet all truth must encompass evidence henceforth as per the Bohr correspondence principle. No real questions, just camped out listening and integrating what I already know. It's fun to vibrate together.
Yeah.
And Zach, yeah. Well, Zach, yeah.
And yeah, I like that. I like that. Thank you, Zach. That's a very, very true. Yeah.
Right. He said also, can you get the major networks to play the mantras subliminally? That would be a great help. Well, these do feel like they're mudras more than mantras. And do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do the hands, but a lot of the phrases, you've just seen, the audience has just experienced a few of the phrases that you've thrown out. I wonder, would you be so kind as to give a more definitive experience for them so that they could really get a buzz from it?
All right. Well, I can guide anyone that's listening, including Kathy. So you can do this. And anyone else that is listening now or later can do this. So this is where you really see the super powerful impact of the syllables. So if there's any particular issue that you're experiencing, if it's like a negative emotional thing that you're feeling, negative thoughts, something like that, okay? We'll just start off with basic stuff like that we all have arising at one point or another. So you feel where that is in your body.
Okay.
And, really just tune into that, sense that feeling.
Okay.
Energy as much as possible. And then this is one of the new pieces that I've gotten recently. So we're going to be communicating with that place, okay? And it's like talking maybe to our inner child or to that part of us. So the syllables that we're going to use really have the meaning of I see you and understand you. So it's du tour more. Du tour more. So just take a moment and just silently repeat du tour more as you're focusing on that place. And yeah, it doesn't take long. Then you're going to use the syllables krile ama. So basically telling that part, I love you unconditionally.
Okay.
Krile ama.
Krile ama. Krile ama. Krile.
All right. So I know that the silence piece doesn't really lend itself to this process, and then the last one is you're going to say to that part, you are whole.
Okay.
And it's cho.
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 So that is like the super simple but really powerful. I mean, I've done that, with people that have been having, some major kind of emotional stuff that they haven't really been able to clear for years, and just doing that for 5-10 minutes and poof.
Well, and that's where anything that blocks us from going to the place of love,
yes,
is really is what we're clearing. as
It's
much as
totally
possible,
about that.
right?
Yeah, it is totally about that. But
Right,
we can have the intention of being loving and still not be able to totally get into that vibration,
right,
right? You know?
right. Well, it's also because of the triggers. I mean, do you see what's happening, the contrasts? Um, I feel, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel most of the people that I work with, including in the past have worked with you, um, they're here to help people that are out of 3D, but they're stuck in 4D and they haven't gotten to 5D because they can't, there's really not an operating manual and they're being triggered all the time. So
Right.
they go back to the old operating system without, because it's almost like you're on sandy ground or something.
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
I feel like what you're doing and what most of the people I'm working with are doing are bringing those people to the consciousness of love, where the unity consciousness, and where they're inspired to
Yeah.
have this experience rather than a victim of the experience.
Right, right. I mean, we're just carrying around so much stuff, these unconscious and subconscious programs. And so it really is all about just clearing those and, the trauma that we've experienced or that we are carrying, just from the collective consciousness. All of that really keeps us in that old mode of reactivity, so.
Well, and Katherine, can you give us some stories? I mean, I could probably tell some. I know I could tell some, but could you give us some stories about changes that you've seen when people have used this process? Because it is so, you guys, it seems so easy, and it is, but it is so strong. It's remarkable what these tools are.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I mean, this sounds very weird, but I'm always a little kind of tongue-tied when it comes to stories because there's just so many of them, and it's like, I mean, it's like, I, I
Well, I just
don't really know what to say because whatever it is, I mean, whether it's physical pain that I'm working with, I mean, I just worked on somebody's ankle yesterday. She had really badly injured her ankle. I was working on her at a distance, and I didn't even do a full session. I was just focusing on her ankle. I did maybe a half an hour treatment on it, and it had been. Um, it had actually, it's best if you catch those things right away. And, I mean, it's like when I worked on people right away with an injury like that, it's like, they thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to, go to the hospital or something like that. And then the next day they're totally fine.
right, right. I know. It's That's amazing.
Yeah. In this case, she, her ankle was like probably 80% better, than the next day when I talked to her. So after kind of, just being off her feet entirely for a couple weeks.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
But you can help with chronic things too, right? That you've got, I mean, I know that I sent someone to you for cancer. And
uh-huh.
and so I know that you cured yourself from cancer, correct?
I
With
did. Yes, I cured myself of a breast cancer, of a tumor in my breast. It took it didn't happen overnight, but it was completely gone, completely cured, yeah.
Well,
Just,
that's different because so many healers can't heal themselves.
yeah,
That's the other thing, you guys, is that so many of the healers need another healer. They call themselves the healer's healer. But when if you take this class or use these syllables, you can work on yourself.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not that oh, I better pair up with somebody who's in the class so they can help me. This is an access to all this data, and it's our birthright.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yeah, it totally is. So I love teaching it. And yeah, that's, I've cured myself of food allergies, of breast cancer, of back pain, although I still have some of that because I have scoliosis, and that's still a bit going on for me. But I mean, so many things I've shifted in my own body, and just keeping myself in balance. So, and one of the things that people always, I get a lot, especially from people that are healer types, is how to not take on negative energy from other people. And I always say, it's the best thing to do is just to strengthen your own field.
Right.
And I teach how to do that. And it's really pretty simple. And if you do it on a regular basis, you will get to the point where you're not taking on that, others' energies. Because I used to do that all the time. And it's not an issue for me anymore at all. And occasional time when I will take on something, I immediately go, oh, okay, I know what that is. And I clear it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, Jade put mahalo for the experience. She really liked your experience. And Elsie put, Katherine has worked with me, very powerful and effective.
Oh, thank you.
So you got a little testimonial here.
Yay.
So Katherine, how do you see this future? 2020 feels like it's going to be really big.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm like almost anxious with it. And I don't think it's because of the election. But sorry, it's political. But anyway, I think it's the energy and the consciousness is coming to a tipping point where more and more people are going to be courageous enough to show up as their total self.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that too? And is that part of this new work?
Yes, it sure is. And, I was actually had an interesting reading recently from a beautiful woman who's also a client of mine and very gifted psychic. And she was saying, frankly, people haven't been totally ready for the resonance alchemy work in a big way yet. And this coming year, people are going to start being like way ready to really utilize, this energy, and they'll be able to understand it and really, take it to the next level,
right.
And really.
Well, you can see that it's easy to use, you guys. You can use it without anyone knowing you're using it,
Right.
which is good. It's good. You just have to remember some phrases that are in your pocket or in your pocket of your brain, and it's timeless because this is truth. When you're working from pure love and truth, those places resonate different than all the other jargon.
Yes, it really does. And people, know it. I mean, it does. And, that's honestly where my groundedness comes from. I will say is I really feel that through the resonance alchemy work, and really, I mean, this is something that I don't teach it. I use it, I try to embody it as much as possible. And it is a way of grounding into these higher unified fields. And it's a field in which there is, just this huge energy of stability, really, because it is the stability of truth and love that is the core of everything, the universe.
It's source. It's our origin, but we've got so many other shields or veils or whatever you want to call them up that it's time for them to release. And this, you guys, it's so easy. And you don't have to worry about if you pronounce it wrong either.
That's right. That's right.
So
It
Noelle and
does
Bob
work
are
with
here now
intent.
too.
Yeah.
Noelle and Bob are here now too. So we got part of the gang here.
Great, great.
The other thing I'd like to share is you're a great teacher and your work is beautiful, but you also do clearing. You do house clearings, and at CCC one year you gave us all some crystals to use to clear our house. Could you speak to that about the frequency of your environment?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, our environment and the resonance and frequency of that is super important. You know, land carries also a lot of old imprints and negative energies. And, you know, especially some places really have a large accumulation of that. So, one of the things that I love to do is to actually use crystals, quartz crystals, and infuse the crystals with the, yeah, there you go, with the
You've been
resonance of the syllables. Yeah. So the crystals will hold the resonance of the syllables, which is, I think, is just such an amazing thing. They love it, and they love, you know, the crystals love being of service in that way. And so the crystals by themselves are powerful, but when you add the syllables to them, um, and then place them in the ground so you can actually bury them and clear negative geopathic stress lines, negative vortexes, you know, just negative emotional energy that's accumulated in the earth. So, you know, it's great to be able to create that kind of sacred space in your own home. And especially now that we have so much stuff with the EMFs and the 5G and all of this other stuff, the syllables, you know, can actually work in a very grounded way, literally, you know, in the ground, as, as well as just in our space and environment to create a positive field.
But do you teach that as well, or do you mostly do that as a service?
I do both. I teach it. It
Oh,
is part of my trainings. Yeah,
oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
well, Bob and Noelle are on, and they said, "Love Catherine's work. I remember some of the phrases."
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. Hello, Bob and Noel.
yeah, and Elsie
Yeah.
and Wade and Zach. So, Catherine, is there anything else that you'd like to share? I've been sharing your website. Is there anything else that's coming up, or something that you'd like to share that that the people that are on the call or the people that watch this later could get a sense of the that's why I was asking for stories, because your healings are off the charts. I mean, they're transformational, and they can be done remotely as well as in your office. It's quite dramatic, the changes. So is there anything else that you'd like to leave the audience with, that besides the hope and the
Well, you know, we all can do this. I mean, that's, you know, it has nothing to do with me at all. And it has everything to do with the syllables and the, you know, just the way of, you know, really being able to be masters of our vibration this way. So the syllables are tools that can work for anyone. Um, so I do want to remind people again of my class coming up in Crestone, a 3-day class, the end of September. If you give me your email address if you go on my website and sign up for my newsletter, you will get that information on the class and any future classes, because really right now my focus is actually not so much on, you know, healings, although I'm still doing that full time pretty much.
yeah.
I've been super busy, but on teaching people, you know, I really want people to get that we can all do this, and um, the syllables are just such great tools for assisting us in all these, and they're good for working with animals, working with plants, working with the earth, working with birth, working with dying. I mean, there's so many endless possibilities to working with the syllables.
So, and I look forward to seeing what else they'll do as consciousness as people are ready, because as I said, I met you, I think 4 years ago, I don't know, and then took the classes, and I can sort of sense the difference. It feels so much more expanded and so much more accessible, and that it doesn't feel like it's too hard to do.
Right. For a while there, it was a little, kind of hard to do, but yes, that has really shifted. It's getting easier and easier, and part of that is just that the shift in energies and the overall shift in consciousness, and ultimately, this really is about our ascension. So, if it's nothing else, then the healing is just a part of our ascension. The working with the earth, working with it's all, how it's going to serve our ascension, and really creating the energies of the new earth. So
right. And that's why we're all here. And I hope you all will, whether you're on the call right now and you already know about Katherine's beautiful work, or you're watching it for the first time, or if you're watching on the replay, I hope that you'll take the time to go to her site. I'll show it one more time, or contact her. She's not on Facebook a lot, but
we have a page on Facebook, though.
She does, but she's not on all the time. But anyway, if you contact her in some way, find out some more about it. And then you can take her class. She does have online classes that you can buy and do self-study.
Yes.
And her book is full of some of the beginning foundational resonance alchemy terms. So I just encourage you, use these tools. This is gifts for you. It was given through Katherine to humanity at this very important time, and have a happy life. My goodness, happy and healthy life, right?
Yes.
Right.
It's all about really being here and being in our joy and being in our love and spreading that energy as much as possible.
That's right. Being that love. So, and I'm getting chills. Well, thank you so much, Katherine. Any last words that you'd like to share?
I might have so the syllables, these are some beautiful syllables for the energy of communion.
Oh, okay.
And it's, communion with our divine nature, basically. So the syllables are E-ha-L. E-ha-L. So just focusing on our hearts and bringing in these frequencies of E-ha-L. Feeling that energy of beautiful connection with ourselves, with each other, with our divine nature.
Oh, that's beautiful. That one feels incredible. Well, I think all of them built, so that one really expanded. Oh, great. Oh, great. And Bob and Noel shared this for us. So.
Oh, beautiful. Yay.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Katherine. I hope everyone that hears this will take advantage of learning more about your work and really love themselves enough to give themselves this gift.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, dear. I so appreciate you. Thank you.
You, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay. So we're signing off. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.